Thank you. It is an honor to be here today to share. There we go. Sorry, we're midway into my slides, but it is an honor to be here and share with you today the knowledge that I have in our digital transformation at A-dec using eGain knowledge. So a little bit of background. Let me tell you about A-dec. A-dec is an international dental equipment manufacturer. Our primary manufacturing facility is in Newberg, Oregon, and we also have a manufacturing site in China. We have distribution centers in Australia, UK, and of course China as well. So we produce that equipment when you are at the dentist and you sit in that chair. That is A-dec. We manufacture that equipment, or the light, or when a doctor or a hygienist needs to deliver air and water to a handpiece, that is what we manufacture. So let's talk a little bit about knowledge at A-dec. I'm within the customer service organization, and we started our knowledge journey back in 2007, where we had many reps and agents, we call them reps, so agents, equivalent in eGain knowledge, that were just sharing their tribal knowledge from person to person, writing in manuals and books. And we had a director come in and say, hey, you know, it would take us 12 months to train a new representative, because we do have a foundation in that customer experience where you, as an agent, need to know everything about all the equipment that we've manufactured for 50 years. And so, as you can tell, without a knowledge management system, that took a very long time to train people. So back in 2007, our director came in and said, hey, we've got to figure something out. There are easier ways to make this experience more manageable and to onboard people in a quicker time frame. So with that, we went through a proposal scenario, and we purchased an on-premise solution, and our customer service agents were given goals. So we launched that system, and our customer service agents, and this is just internally, so when an agent is on a call and they have this complex troubleshooting scenario and they worked with engineering, they could author content and share that with the rest of the agents. That's what started in 2007. It evolved over time, and our goals were all related around, you know, building this knowledge. So their performance at the end of the year really had that knowledge element into it on how many articles did they create, how much content did they contribute to. So we went from no knowledge base whatsoever and grew from 2007 to 2016, I think. 17 is when we started to move forward and re-examine what we needed to do, from nothing to 5,000 articles and like 7,000 SharePoint documents. So while it was great that everybody was bought in and we have this foundation, it was still a struggle because our documents in our on-premise solution would not search documents, and the solution that we had was all based off of keywords. And so it was very difficult sometimes to get the right article to come up. So we decided, okay, and also it was expensive to upgrade an on-premise solution. And for the value of what they added to their newest versions, we just didn't see the value in it, and so we were way behind on upgrading. And got to a point where our technology was going to become obsolete, and which is a good thing when you're talking to executives, because it gives that sense of urgency that, hey, we need to figure out a better solution. So what we ended up doing, we're like at this point where we need to do something different. So we did an RFP. We're like, okay, what do we want to see for the future of knowledge? This was a great internal tool, and it had advanced. Those 5,000 articles, there was some great content in there for our customer service agents to be able to help our customers. And so, but what's next? How can we make this experience even more? What we wanted to do is, we're a B2B company, so we sell all our equipment through dealers, kind of like a car. You know, you go to a dealership to get a car, you don't necessarily go directly to Toyota. Or so our dealers are the primary callers that contact customer service. And we thought, well, we have all this great information, can't we give some of this to them? Also, we're in a new age. We're on cell phones, we're on tablets. This needs to be device responsive. We need someone to be able to access this information on whatever device they're using. And we went through multiple other things that, you know, this is our wish list. This is what we want. These are our must-haves, and these are our ideal states. And we went through that RFP process and had multiple responses. Ultimately, we selected eGain. So the next part of my presentation, I'm going to tell you a little bit about why eGain. So reviewing all the responses to the RFP, that's real fun. Let me tell you, like spreadsheets, graphs, yes, they can do this, but with customization. What customization? So eGain had the most out-of-box functionality of everything that we were looking to do with the future state of knowledge at A-dec. And so that was a big thing. And then on top of that, we had this vision, innovation in 30 days. I got to try this out. Like, okay, you say you can do this, but let me try it and prove that what you're saying on this RFP is backed. And it was an experience, let me tell you, that innovation in 30 days, it was so exciting and exhilarating, but then at the same time getting there. But it was a great team. We had multiple people working on it, Happy, Sonia, throughout that experience, and we got there, and I was able to present this vision of what we saw with knowledge and how we could improve that experience to our dealers, to our stakeholders and our CEO. Of course, I know a lot of people have mentioned this, but knowledge personalization, I'm going to show you a little bit about that. And then also the conversational, this is like, you know, dessert. You didn't, going into this, you know, we didn't know this was a feature that was available, but it made sense within our organization. We have sometimes complex calls. We have 50 years worth of equipment, and it could be anything from a chair that was manufactured, you know, in the 70s, and you have to troubleshoot how to fix that. And let me tell you, A-dec stands behind their equipment, so you can't just say, get a new chair. We have parts that are available for those older generation products. So the questions and calls that we get can be quite complex. So the AI guidance is pretty substantial with simplifying that and bringing that down. Okay, so here are some things that I love, and I'm going to show you. This is in A-dec land. This is our template. This is what knowledge looks like. You can see on the left, of course, that's my image of this needs to be device responsive. It looks different. Other people have mentioned this, but on the right side, accordions, if you're familiar with that term, but the drop-down menus for that mobile experience. For us, we had a minor customization because images were very important for identifying what equipment that we had, to have the images in the bottom right corner. So you can see that. That was already in there, but they just made them a little larger for us. Some other things that I love about self-service, your breadcrumbs, where you're at. You know, if you get from point A to B, you can go back. And then also, some people have mentioned this, but bookmarking stuff. I never thought how amazing that would be. There's certain articles I use every day, and like our catalogs, our articles on catalogs, it's bookmarked, and you can go there so quickly. And feedback. Whenever I'm training our dealer partners to use this site, I say, you know what? I do love whether this was useful or not, but please leave me feedback, because if you say no, I don't know how to fix it. Give me that feedback, and you can even attach an image. We value what you are giving to us and how we can make this site even better. And eGain has powered that by those features and making that available. All right. So I talked about this a little bit, but we have an image-driven taxonomy. So it was very important to us that you could identify your product by the images and then drill down to what your actual image is. And we have a varied amount of products between ages. You can see some of our older products on the right side, and we still support those products. And so it's important. In fact, that's where we get a lot of our calls, because those are at the age where they need maybe a little bit more service than others just due to age. And so it was important that when you are a dealer and you don't necessarily know what model it is and how to search maybe, that you can just identify images and get to the content through a click-through method. So that was really important to us. We talked about this, but the conversational AI guidance, this is big. What I love about it is with any given call, you're asked a question and you're ultimately have this path that can be rather complex and how to get to the resolution. And sometimes when a question is there, you need to know what information is important on how to answer that question. So in this situation, we have do we have an LED light? And then on the left, you have the guidance. That's what the LED light would look like. So if you have an agent on the phone, they have that right in front of them, which, let me tell you, we launched this early 2020, right before everything shut down, which was pivotal when we went and were required to work from home. You have this, at A-dec, when we were all on campus, we have this equipment room where you could go in the back and just pull apart the equipment and look at it and help and guide our customers through the experience. But this was gone. We all were required to be at home. And so this type of feature, it was really good timing, let me tell you, with launching and being able to support the product from home when they moved and were required to work from home. We've seen this before. I wanted to give you some screenshots of what this looked like. So it's pretty simple. Personalization, it seems like, maybe you have so much involved, but really all you have to do is create the groups. We have and for us, we kept it pretty simple to start out with. So we have an employee group, and then we have our authorized partner group. And for our employees, we allowed them, you can see on the left side, to see what our authorized partners are seeing, the content that they have available to them, but then also to have their own tab which has extended information. I highlighted the brochures there because that is only for employees. It's kind of a complicated thing. I know you'd think brochures should be for dealers, but this service is more for service, and our marketing team has a whole different area where they keep the most current copy of brochures. So that is more so for the employee and the service just to know the part number. So it's highlighted in green, and that's how you personalize it. And you can see for the authorized partner view, it's not there. And if this was actually an authorized partner, they don't obviously see those tabs at the top. It's just a seamless view for them, which I loved because I think it's all about that experience. I haven't heard too many people talk about this, but this is one of my most favorite features, macros. We reuse our content all over the place. If I have a caution here, this could be used in 100 different articles. And so And this is easy to do in eGain. You create just that reusable content in a single article, give it a name, and then just insert it in whatever other articles you want, that name, and it automatically updates. So when this caution, so if there's a new regulatory requirement for this caution, or something that has changed that needs to be modified, I go to one place. And I update that in that single place, and it automatically updates in my 100 other articles, which before just takes so much more time to manually go into every article and update that. We have that with our equipment. Like this LED dental light head, we use that on multiple different models. And so it's the same concept. I create that in one area, and I put it in all those articles that are relevant to that LED head. And it's amazing. It's so simple to go in and update. It's just refreshing to have that functionality with eGain. Analytics. So analytics are great, and I love this. There's multiple things here that I could talk about. It's just a really good vision of what is happening at a user level. One thing I like to look at is this bottom one. Okay, what's failing? What searches are failing? And I know I've worked with eGain on this. Okay, we have our dealers searching by part number. And we had this failure mode where they would get the first 6 digits right, but our last 2 digits may vary depending on what color it is. And so we would have failed searches that maybe there was a relevant article, but they were off 1 digit, and so it didn't bring that content to light. So the first thing is we have the analytics to see that. Second thing, work with them. I brought that to my team. Hey, this is what I see going on. Is there a fix for this? And eGain's great at understanding the need and coming up with solutions that will fix that. And now I'm happy to say that they could search and get the first 6 digits right, and the last 2 digits, and they'll get relevant content with not necessarily having the last 2 digits incorrectly or correct. One thing I like to also highlight here with analytics, I know sometimes we get so driven with seeing the numbers, seeing how things pay off, and sometimes we lose sight of that customer experience. It is so important whenever you are creating a vision of where you want to see your organization take a particular digital technology, that you are centered around that customer experience. These numbers come, the growth organically comes when you are providing a solution that is geared off of how can I make their lives easier? How can I improve this experience from a digital perspective? To make what they do a little bit easier every day. And then it's fun to see these numbers improve. And I love looking at these and seeing the growth rate and the access. We're a smaller company than a lot of people who have presented before me. So these are actually really great numbers for us, even though some of you may have significant numbers there. But it's really great to see that activity. Okay, so how has this impacted A-dec? Well, I talked about some of this stuff already, but we have seen our sales force. So everything went remote with COVID, and we had our sales team who, before, we had to coach and prod them and get them to use the existing knowledge base because it was difficult to find things. And you had to kind of know what keywords to use in order to find the right articles. So our A-dec team has increased. Customer service had already been trained, so they were already required to use the system in the knowledge base. But the rest of the organization's like, I want that, I'm searching in that. I've got product owners, I have engineering, I have my whole sales team searching the knowledge base for product support information. So when they're in the field, and sometimes our sales team get asked technical questions, it's right there on their phone, and they look it up. And it is fun to see that when they have those interactions, their dealers are like, I want that. And now we can say, you can have it. We started to launch web self-service, and I'm not sure if I really covered that. That was new. So I know I talked about that was one of our initiatives. Web self-service for us was really giving that, our most advanced articles, to our dealer partners, saying, hey, okay, this is our knowledge base for our A-dec internal employees, which has advanced, and we know that these articles are our primary articles, and how can we deliver that experience to our dealer partners? And so we ended up giving these profile articles, which we created on a model of about 85% of what the customer, or what customer service gets for phone calls for each model number. And our dealers would ask our TMs, hey, I want that. You have that, how do I get that? And it organically grew to a sales, to over 24,000 article views in a year. And this year we've even doubled that. When I look at the usage from last year, because now we're year 2 into it, it has over doubled in usage and grown beyond what we expected it to. So A-dec team, our sales team, yes, they never use the whole knowledge base. And now they all use it, well, except for a few strong holdouts, but they all know how valuable it is when they are on the spot and need to answer a question, that sometimes it is faster for them to just hook into the knowledge base and look it up than it is to pick up the phone and call customer service. What's next? This is a fun one. And this is one of the reasons I've been at the demo lounge and everything, really trying to see how we can take this to the next level. Your content is key, and making sure your foundation is there. So we're going to continue to, of course, build what we have today. I want to work on more of those guided interactions for troubleshooting. We have a few, but we would like to expand that to the most common interactions and really present that. For the long-term vision of this being implemented into chat and being able to have these guided answers and sessions work into chat. And then also, we are using Microsoft Dynamics CRM for ticketing and for our customer contacts. So I'm really here to see what that looks like as an ecosystem, working between chat and Microsoft CRM and our knowledge and how it all comes together. Also, data extract. We use, this is something I didn't touch on earlier, but we use data extract API output for our quality management system. So when I have an agent who is working on a quality issue, maybe something's not working as it should, and we've created a fix for that particular issue, we have a way of logging that, and we link that article that says, hey, yes, this is a fixed issue, to our quality management system. So that is one way we use data extract now. We want to expand that beyond and look into more of our service solutions from a digital standpoint, maybe within a web app, but we have a team, a technology team really looking at those interactions. So that is what's next and what we're looking forward to. And that is it. In closing, I'm a little bit early here, but I do really have a few foundational things that I think are so important to your experience. we are people of relationship, and those connections are so important to your future growth as a company. We are humans. Find the right data solution that enhances those interactions and streamlines what you're doing, but never lose sight of those connections and that customer experience, because that is what ultimately people remember. I remember my interactions, Steve, Arun, Surgeon, Nikki. I remember those interactions with eGain and how meaningful they were to our decision to even go with eGain and trust in that culture and that let's build those relationships. And so I think that that's a struggle in this day and age, that where digital technology is so important and it's trending and moving fast, and we do have to keep up with what's there and available, but never lose sight of that customer focus and those relationships. So thank you. I appreciate it. If you have any questions afterward, feel free to reach out. Thank you.